This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevor's tested waters help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevor's tested waters help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
Hey guys, it's me Travis, and this is what we're locking in for the college football final, the playoff final, the CFP final, Natty Champ, whatever you want to call it. It's the last game of the college football season. We have, of course, two teams who did not play a conference championship game, which means, of course, they didn't win a conference championship game, and somehow found their way into the final with this new crazy 12-team playoff structure that I think it needs a few more tweaks because how it's set up was a little suboptimal, but hey, it's a learning process. But we do have Notre Dame versus Ohio State before the line dropped, as soon as Notre Dame barely squeaked by with a victory to make it to this championship game. I told everybody in the chat, I said, hey, whatever Ohio State's spread is, take it. I believe it opened somewhere around -9.5, -9, and I'm seeing it on books now as low as -8 or even -7.5. I'm definitely locking that in. So regardless of what our tools say when we pull up the spread predictor, regardless of that, based on me watching this entire season and me watching the whole playoff games, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Now, we did have somebody, who was it? We had somebody in our Discord, one of our VIP members, Levi, I believe it was. So he said, Notre Dame is 13-2 against the spread this year. Vegas has underrated Notre Dame time and time again, plus the recency bias of Ohio State's big win over Oregon. I think this line is inflated. I think this is within a touchdown, and definitely some value on Notre Dame money line. Just his 2 cents as someone who follows Notre Dame very closely, and he has Notre Dame in his Discord username. So yeah, you have to say there's a little bit of bias there because he's a Notre Dame fan. But yes, they are 13-2 against the spread. But you have to look at their schedule. Like, sure, they're against the spread, but like, did they verse the same level of top-tier talent every single game that Ohio State did? I think I saw that neither of these two teams had a cupcake matchup this year. So that's kind of the thing going forward. If you want to have a chance to be seated higher than someone else, or even squeak in for these at-large bids they have, then you're going to have to not have cupcakes, and that's something that the Power 5, now Power 4 conferences have always done. What we're going to do first is we're going to look at the player props, of course, see if there's anything here on any of the stats that's popping up for us for this final college football game, and then we'll go over to the team stuff as well and see what the AI is thinking. I'm very excited to show you a few new features that we've dropped since our last college football video. The one we dropped yesterday, I mean, depending on when you're watching this, let me pull up the screen here, is you can go to any player, and you now have this. You see how it's highlighting when I move the cursor over it? This is now a clickable space. You see the little eye icon here? Anywhere here you can click, and what it's actually going to show you is roster details, which of course we're recording this extremely early, so we're not going to have any available data for this game on like who's injured, who's not playing, because we're a little bit under a week away. But just to kind of show you what it would look like, let's look at the NBA predictor available today. So this is when it has data, because this is the day of, so of course it's going to have matchup data. It's going to show something like this. You're going to see both teams. You're going to see GTD, which if you're not sure what that means game time decision, and it kind of just tells you, hey, this is, who should be starting, this is who's injured and possibly not playing. If you're on mobile, you're only going to see one of these at a time, and on the bottom, you're going to see, it's going to say home and away, and you just have to alternate which team you're looking at, the home or the away team. So that's a new feature that a lot of you guys asked for, and we're really happy to have that in there. But we're not talking about NBA, we're talking about college football final. So back to our stuff here. All right, so first things first, we're going to do what we've been doing all year for NFL and college football that's been crushing for us, and start with the minimum of 40. Currently in this game, there's only 2 receivers who have a minimum of 40. Jeremiah Smith, if you watched him, I think it was the Oregon game, where he just went bananas. Let me actually check that. Yeah, Oregon game, went bananas, 187. Everybody's like, oh man, this guy's amazing. I think he broke like a ton of freshman records in this. And then what did he do in the next game? He had 3 receiving yards. So you have to factor in that not every single matchup is created equally. For this particular game, his line on DraftKings anyway, we'll see in a second if it's higher anywhere else, is 79.5. His projection's at 56.85, which is a massive 28% difference. I typically look at 50% accuracy as my bare minimum, and he meets that at exactly 50%. Let me pull up here. So this is what I was looking at, the 187. So the two playoff games here, 103, 187, and then disappeared. So what I'm going to do first is I want to see 80. So FanDuel's got a higher line. If we're going under, you want the highest line possible. I'm going to see if he's got anything higher than 80. Oh, he got 84 on BetRivers. Nice. So BetRivers has 84.5. That's a massive 33% difference. So the projection, it doesn't change when you change a sports book, but the difference does because it's based on what the line is. So this guy, I don't know if BetRivers allows under. That's tricky. So when this is grayed out over here, you can see it on the screen, right? Yeah. When the over-under is grayed out, that means it's an over-only play. You know how sportsbooks will have like 5+ assist or 20+ receiving yards, and it's never under. It's just over-only stuff. So that's what when it's grayed out, that's what it means. So it looks like technically here, you can't go under on BetRivers. So I think, even though his line's at 84.5, I'm not going to claim that as the underline. But because you can go under on FanDuel and BetMGM, they both have 80.5. I think the under here might be the play because let's just look at this entire season here. So started off, so we hit it twice, missed, hit it 3 times, missed 2 times, hit it twice, missed twice, bananas here, and then this game. Now my question is, so something that we're adding to. Do we have receptions here? Yeah. So he had 1 reception. So what I'm going to look at here is I'm going to pull up his Texas game, and I'm curious as to how many. Where's it at? Texas, Ohio State. That was on January 10th. Yeah. I'm curious as to how many targets he had as well. This targets is a feature we've added to our NFL. So if you look at NFL receptions, it'll show you how many targets every player had. We're working on add that to college football for the final here. He had 3. No, hold on. It's not even showing me how many targets he had. Will Howard passed for 289 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Let me look at his teammate here real quick. Oh, it looks like we have 3 players now with the 40-yard line. Oh, because we chose FanDuel. That's what it was. FanDuel has somebody at 40, so I'm guessing Carnell Tate here. I'm guessing he's under 40 for whatchamacallit? For DraftKings. That's what I meant to say. So Carnell Tate had a great game last game. So this is very interesting. So you see here, this is Carnell Tate is the I guess the Venom to Jeremiah's Spider-Man. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he's the complete opposite. He's the mirror opposite. Oh, I guess maybe Carnage and Venom. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say, though. So in the two playoff games you see here on the screen, where Jeremiah went off, 100 yards he had here, 187 here, and then he only had 1 catch for 3 yards here. Tate is the complete opposite. Garbage, 87. So it's very interesting to see what kind of playoff game this final is going to be. Is it going to be Tate going off, or is it going to be Jeremiah? I don't think it's going to be both. I don't think that's going to be the case. I also think that Ohio State is, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, is going to win. It's going to cover the spread, which is currently, I think, -7.5, -8 on some places. And if that's the case, what do you do when you have the lead in the fourth quarter in the national championship? You make sure the other team doesn't get the ball by running out the clock. And they have really good running backs on their squad. So I'm trying to think about the game theory here. The problem is his accuracy sucks so bad. He's very unpredictable. So the sports books seem to be siding with the under. Projections saying to go over. But again, this guy has been hard to predict the entire season. Very unpredictable player. So no, Tate is not going to be what we're looking at based on the low accuracy. And then how did he do last week? So he's kind of in the middle of all three of them. So he had three. He's the only player out of all three of them that had at least 51 yards receiving or more in the past in the 3 playoff games. His projection is just a fraction higher than his line. Or because we're thinking about Ohio State definitely winning, maybe we look at rush yards. Nah, there's not enough difference here. Jeremiah Love does have a lot of difference, but his accuracy is at 28.6. That's the lowest college football accuracy. That means this guy is literally impossible to predict. When he's supposed to go over, he doesn't, and when he's supposed to go under, he doesn't. So this guy's all over the place. I mean, 137, 130, 99, 108. Garbage. 19 against Georgia, 46 against Penn State. Yeah, he's had some low stuff here, and he's had streaks of high stuff. Very streaky player, but 41.5. So how many? Let me look at Texas. Texas allowed the leading rusher for Texas was Wisner, and he got 17 carries for 46 yards. 46 yards was the highest rusher for Texas against Ohio State. I feel like they're pretty stout on defense. And I also like the fact this guy has been impossible to predict this season. So even though the difference is nice, because this is why we added accuracy. We added accuracy to make sure that we're not being led into a dark tunnel to be punched in the face. Just look at some other stuff real quick here before I go back to receiving yards. Will Howard. Will Howard, every single playoff game, has passed for 289 yards or more. He's 3 for 3. I mean, of course he's 3 for 3 on winning playoff games because he's in the final, but he has not passed for less than 289 yards. He's got a 50% accuracy, which is our bare minimum. His line on FanDuel is 245.5. His projection is 20 yards higher. Typically, we like a higher projection. If you look at the Trifecta's channel in Discord, we like to see this at 20%. That's the perfect case scenario. But because a lot of things aren't super sexy on the other stats, I think a 20-yard cushion is relatively nice. So what do we do here? We see, is his line lower? If we're going to go over, we want the line to be lower on anything else. 245. Nope. Same. Ooh, really high. Yeah, FanDuel wins. So FanDuel's got his pass yards. Actually, let me look at pass attempts. No. Yeah, so I think this might be the play here. I think we're going to be looking at the quarterback. So if our Notre Dame fan Levi in Discord, who I read to you his quote at the beginning of the show, is correct, and it's a lot closer of a game, then he's going to be passing a lot more. But I still think, I don't think they're going to blow out. I don't think they're going to win by like 50 points or 40 points, maybe even not 30 points, but I still think that Ohio State's going to cover the spread. Before I even pull up the team tools, but I think Will Howard, so I was talking about his last 3 games that you see here on screen, 311, 319, 289. We don't need him to get 300 yards. We don't even need him to get 289 yards. We should him get 246 yards, which is his FanDuel line. I know on the, if you look at the short videos we have on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, what Benham has been doing, he's been targeting the over 1.5. He hit that back-to-back here, and then against Texas it missed. But this guy, for 1.5 touchdowns, has been pretty accurate. He's hit that line, or not, he's not hit that line, but the AI has been correct on predicting the side 66.7% of the time through 12 games. That's pretty good. You can look at that. This makes sense, but I think we're going passing yards here. We're going 245.5 passing yards. Been very, very pass-heavy offense. So now that we have that for Will Howard, let's look at the team stuff. And this is kind of more on par with what our Notre Dame fan Levi was saying in our Discord. Again, when somebody's a fan of a team, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt. because there is some personal bias in there. But to his point, he also watches Notre Dame games more than anybody else within our Discord, because of course he's a fan. So what it says right now is Ohio State's money line is minus 375. And what does minus 375 mean? It means that it's implied chance of 78.95%. So the sports books give them this chance to win, this is the same exact number, just shown a different way. So this is what the sports books tell us. What the AI tells us is Ohio State's going to win this game, but not by a 78.95% chance, only by a 66% chance. So when you see a negative difference here, I mean, we're not going to bet on a minus 3.7 money line anyway, because this is really, really heavy. But what does this tell us? It says not only don't bet on this money line regardless of what it is, it's just too juiced. But then again, it's still saying Ohio State's going to win this game. 81.8% of the games that the AI has recorded all the data for any game, including Ohio State this season, it's correct. It's correctly predicted. The AI has correctly predicted the right side, and then 88% here for Notre Dame games. I think this was 100, and then it had Penn State like 51%, and they should have won that game. They freaking idiot Penn State quarterback threw the dumbest interception possible when they were going for like a game-winning field goal. But yeah, Penn State definitely lost that game. That quarterback's stupid. But we're not going to do money line. And then here, because of what I said earlier, is Notre Dame plus 8.5, because typically for NFL and any of the football stuff, if you see a negative difference here, that means it's going to show you the opposite team or the underdog team spread here, which is what we see in this case. But again, the spread predictor for games involving Ohio State has been accurate 27% of the time. For games involving Notre Dame, 10% of the time. So, with what I was saying before, technically speaking, if you bet against the spread predictor in games involving Notre Dame, you would have won 90% of your plays. And what I'm saying is that a +8, which it's on a Hard Rock and a few other places, or a -8, sorry, not +8, a -8 for Ohio State, that I'm on the 90 percentile, essentially, of what I'm saying, because I'm saying do the opposite of what the spread predictor is saying. We look at total. Total's been pretty good during the playoffs here. Total says over by a smidge. 2.82 is the difference between what the AI is saying and what the available line is. But I think we're going to factor in the fact that a 27% accuracy for Ohio State spread games and a 10% accuracy. I don't think I've seen it this low since we added this accuracy feature. For games involving Notre Dame, I'm going to stick with my gut and say Ohio State -8, which is, I know Hard Rock has it, which we haven't built into yet. I'm sure a few other books have it as well. Oh man, Bet Rivers is juiced even more. Oh, there we go. Caesars has 8, and ESPN's got 8. So you want to do -8 on Caesars or ESPN or Hard Rock if you're in a state that has Hard Rock Sportsbook. We're going to do what this data's telling us. And data's telling us you're going to have more success if you do the opposite of what you see on screen. So if it's saying 10% for games involving Notre Dame and Notre Dame plus 8.5, essentially it's saying you have a 90% chance. Not a 90% chance, but you've been right 90% of the time this season out of the 10 games if you've done the opposite of the spread predictor Notre Dame games. They're extremely unpredictable in their scoring offense and how much points they allow, which ties into Ohio State -8. So we're locking in Will Howard over 245.5 passing yards and Ohio State -8. We're locking that in. And again, if you've watched any of these things, you know that that's not a parlay. Those are two single picks. So when one doesn't hit, that means you still can win another one. You can parlay them together as long as you do them as singles. Those are my two favorite bets for this college football final. I'm thankful for everyone that was with us for the entire college football journey as we added a lot of new features. And yeah, sky's the limit. We're going to have so many more things built for you guys by the time college football starts up in August this year. But yeah, we made it, fam. The last game of the college football season. I will see you guys in the Discord. Ask me any questions you have there. But good luck. and let's go.